So we are joined by our own Edward Ward,
Hello.
sales representative at Royal LePage, your community realty brokerage. Good Lord, man, that's a mouthful.
I didn't choose it.
Holy mackerel. But you're one of our favorite guests anyway,
Well,
so
thank
it
you. I
doesn't
appreciate
matter.
that.
Yep.
That's a hard act to follow. I don't know if we're not going to break out in chorus, are we? 'Cause
No, we
I
didn't
don't think
rehearse
so.
enough. Next time.
I'll hurt a lot of ears.
Yeah, next time.
So, demystifying...
Yeah.
Well,
That's three syllables. I'm not
Yeah.
That's
usually
it,
good.
you're
I
going
say
that
to
way.
Linda,
That's
don't
He's
give
on
me
it.
3 syllables. Like, I'm good for 2.
well, one of the things that we haven't touched base on is some of the different contracts, the more normal contracts that we use, and then some of the stuff that can come out of the contracts in a good or bad way, I guess,
yeah.
depending on which side that you're on with that, right? So, and just to explain a little bit maybe where some of them came from, what the reason is. So,
Yep.
I'm not going to show everybody these. I'm just going to kind of pan through. You can see that we've got an awful lot of information to
Paperwork.
go through in a
Yeah.
pretty short time.
So why so many different contracts?
Well-
You're selling a house
Yes, yeah, you're right. And,
versus...
well, the changes that the government have brought down
Okay.
that we have to take into
Okay.
consideration. So that would
Okay.
be the first form here is actually an individual identification information record. We have to do this because at the time that stuff got switched over onto computers,
Right.
At the time there was about $75 million in mortgage fraud that would occur in a year in Canada.
Wow.
The first year that went over onto the computer system,
Right.
that doubled. Right?
Right.
So this is something you used to do with the lawyer, but now you have to do it with us to prove who you are and that you're allowed to buy or sell.
Okay.
Right? So that was a change in the industry that
Yeah.
dictated that this had to be brought down to us to help alleviate the issues they're having with the mortgage fraud.
Now, when did that go into effect?
Oh, my
I'm just trying to
goodness.
think of when I bought and sold my last house.
I'm going to say that was probably around 2002.
Okay, so
Okay.
for a while now. Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
wow.
was there.
Okay.
Of course, then you have your normal listing agreement that most people would look at, and this is just there again, different forms that you can put out there, putting your house on the market for sale,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
what way that you're going to do it, and different things that you talk about with the realtor, how long the contract's going to be, if it's going to be on MLS or what is called an exclusive listing, meaning that only
Okay.
that realtor is allowed to sell the property. So that's what you would sign on that form there.
Right.
Now,
Then we-
can I ask you,
Yeah.
just I don't mean to interrupt,
Sure.
but the whole MLS thing sometimes
Yes.
gets a little bit confusing. I mean, why would you choose not to do MLS rather than go exclusive? Or would that be, I mean, my house
Yeah.
would not have ever been considered an exclusive property.
Well, what's the benefit of that, really?
like-
honestly, in my opinion, there is no benefit. Most
the
realtors,
exclusive piece.
Yeah.
yes, the
Okay.
exclusive piece. I believe in the open market, and that is making sure that your home is exposed to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm even working with 50 or 60 buyers at any given time.
Yes.
In Georgina, now there's probably close to 200 realtors. If they're only working with 10 buyers each, they have 2,000 buyers to my pool of 50 or 60. And which we do an awful lot of business. That's a lot for most realtors to work with. So there's a better chance that someone else is going to have the buyer for that property.
Right.
Why wouldn't you want to expose it to that?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of times, unfortunately, the exclusive listing is used in ways that are more beneficial for the realtor than maybe the client, and it might not have been explained to them properly. I don't do
Right.
exclusive listings.
Because your commission obviously is not going to be shared there then with
Well, there's that
anyone.
that part of it as well.
Right.
There's that they want to try to generate more business off of it for them.
themselves. Okay.
And so by only having that property, people have to come to them.
Right.
So it's unfortunately it's more of a selfish reason in
Yeah.
my belief.
Right.
Little
doing that.
ego going on
Yeah,
there,
for
I
sure,
think.
right?
Sure.
We have our data form. That's the part that gets filled out that gives all the information about your property
Okay.
that we have there.
Yep.
We have a buyer rep agreement. Most people that are listing their property
I know.
will have to buy a property. So this
Okay.
talks about the relationship that you're going to have with them and how you're going to represent them in the purchase of a property. There's many different ways. Unfortunately, I can't get into all of them because of the time that we have
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
But
So-
this is something that you have to talk about. So the majority of this stuff here that we're talking about, in all honesty, for me to go through front to
Yeah.
back with all of this.
Yeah.
This is usually about an hour and a half of discussions to go
Right.
over everything properly, to explain all the different aspects and why you want to do one over another, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is the benefit or not that is
Yeah.
there
Because
for
we
you.
don't know. The
Yeah.
average
Yeah,
individual
exactly.
doesn't
We're hoping,
know
yeah,
going
you need
in.
to take us through it, basically.
For sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So then we have this form, which is called a working with a realtor form. This is something that we have to get filled out. This talks about what our obligations are for you when you work with us
Good.
at
Okay.
the buying and the selling end.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Then we have what is called a confirmation cooperation representation.
Wow.
God, I'm exhausted.
This I know, isn't this good? This tells the other party when you're dealing with an offer what kind of relationship that we have and who is acting for who
Okay.
Right.
in the process as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we
Wow.
have what is called an offer summary. This proves that we've presented the offer, you've received it, they signed saying they've got it. This was brought in because of the that TV show that was out where they were showing realtors not being upfront and honest about certain
Okay.
things.
Yes.
Yep.
I forget
Yes.
which program that
Yeah,
was
I
right
don't.
now, unfortunately. So this was brought in to try to negate something like that happening where
Okay.
you can actually say, yes, we have an offer, this is when it is, and if there's multiple offers, there has to be paperwork in place so that people aren't doing what was called a ghost offer, saying they actually had an offer on the property when they actually don't.
Wow.
So this is to try to negate that, to protect the
Okay.
That's important.
These are all a lot of checks and balances and really just making sure that things are going to go through in a really
Yes.
sort of like transparent, good way.
Thank you. That's the word I was
Transparent.
looking
Yeah.
for. Was
Exactly.
Transparent.
And that's where a lot of this came from, is
Mm-hmm.
that things that were happening in the industry that shouldn't have been happening.
Yes.
So then they brought in paperwork to make sure that things were being put in place to protect the general public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where, unfortunately, a lot of this came from. We were talking earlier, when I first got into business, which was back in 1998, there were like basically two different documents that you were going through and having to sign
Yeah.
for the listing end of things. Now there's like 6.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? And so each one takes time to go through and explain and do that. To do it properly,
Yes.
I said, we're running through this really quickly here,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because of time
We're getting the
constraints.
Coles Notes version.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So, of course, we have what is the agreement of purchase and sale, so the offer to purchase a property.
Yeah.
That's the one document there. Going through that will take a minimum of 40 minutes, depending
Okay.
on questions, everything, because there's a lot involved in that.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
where you're talking about price and conditions and clauses and
Yeah.
closing dates and title search dates. And so there's a lot of information that you have
Yeah.
to get in to explain what it is that's going on, the process, and why you're doing it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then we have what is called a notice of fulfillment. So once you've done an offer on a property, you've got an offer accepted where you have financing, home inspection, insurance, conditions in there. Once you've got those in place, you have different ways of doing that to remove those from the offer so then you can make it firm so that you're actually buying the property. We have a waiver and we have a notice of fulfillment.
Wow.
Both remove the conditions from an agreement of purchase and sale, but they actually do different things.
Okay.
If nothing goes wrong with an offer, you can use either one of them.
Super.
But if something ends up in front of an arbitrator or a judge in any
Right.
way, then this is going to make a big difference in
Right.
how they look at it, what they
Yeah.
deem to be, and if it's going to work for the buyer or the seller or not, right?
We've got
Yeah.
less than 1 minute,
Okay.
so let's cut right to the chase. And what is the most important out of the ones you've got in your hand? Oh, we're down to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Edward.
They're all important.
Wow.
The last one I'll
They
just
are.
say here is
Yep.
an
Okay.
amendment to agreement. That's when you have something that you agreed upon in the original agreement and you need to make a change to that. A lot of times what that is you have 2 names on an agreement of
Super.
purchase
All right.
and sale.
We are
Super.
done. That's it. We're wrapping
Wow.
up. And
Thank
I'm
you.
exhausted. Oh my God. So much paperwork, but this is all very important stuff.
Yep.
Stay tuned. We're coming back.